Before I go any further, I just want to say that I'm not a professional. I didn't go to school to learn how to do this. This is just for entertainment purposes. Um, if you do decide to try this, I'm not responsible if you fuck up your machine or if you electrocute yourself. Obviously, if you are going to try this, always make sure you unplug it. You don't want to be fucking around with something that has live power, especially around this part is where the all the electricity is. This is a Panasonic PV1200. It is one of the first VCRs that was made for home use. I think this one is from around 1978, 1979. I have about 3 of these right now, as well as other top loaders. And the one main problem I've seen in a lot of these that I've bought personally is the sensor lamp on the inside gets burnt out somehow. Another problem I've seen is the belts kind of get all loose, or they turn to gunk, and then it doesn't drive the tape, it doesn't load the tape or anything like that. So this one, a little while ago, I actually did buy a belt kit off eBay, and I installed them in the bottom, and it was working fine until the sensor lamp burned out. Looking at the front of the VCR, you can't really tell where the sensor lamp is. You actually have to take off this top and remove the top of this, which I will show you later on in the video. But the purpose of this sensor lamp, which is all the way back in here, you won't be able to see it until I take the actual top off, is it sensed when a tape was placed in. It was used for when you would rewind, the clear tape head would shine the light through, stop it from rewinding so it wouldn't rip the tape off the reels. It also is responsible for making the entire machine work. As you can see, when I press the power button, it's going to click, but the light's not going to turn on. It's not going to let you press any buttons. So that click, I think, is a relay or something like that. Nothing happens. So I have the power on, stop, play. None of it works, even if there was a tape in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the top off, and I'm going to show you how to replace the lamp. Okay, so removing the top, this screw is already out. We'll get this screw out of the way. It's also probably good to use an magnified like screwdriver head, because these screws are super small and they get stuck in there very easily. I'll undo the other screws on the other side. There we go. So the whole top should lift off just like that. As you can see, the sensor lamp is right here. To remove the sensor lamp, you're going to want to unscrew this screw, which is right down here. But first, let's take the top off, because I don't want that screw to get lost in there. Okay, once you get all the screws out, the one here, 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 one here, and one here, you can lift the top off. The difficult part is you have this tracking knob here, which usually when I take the top off, I usually hold it and I just lift up gently. It should slide right off. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, I'll show you. We'll take the top off and then we'll get to the lamp. Okay. So now, when you lift up the top, you're going to pull from here, and it should just easily come off like that. There really aren't any hooks or anything under here that needs to hook onto or get stuck. It just literally goes right on and right off. With the tape compartment ejected, you're going to take the screw that's all the way down here. Let me turn up the brightness. The screw that's right there, you're going to take that off, and then this should lift out this whole piece with the light bulb on it. Okay, so I have unscrewed the sensor lamp and it's on this wire. I know that you probably should take the wires off by like desoldering them up here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try and desolder these two, which is actually where the lamp is, and then we are going to put a new light bulb on there, and then it should work. Obviously, before you take this whole thing apart, you're going to want to make sure that you have a soldering iron, and this is desoldering wick. And what this does is you place this over the place that you want to desolder, and then you put the iron over it, and it should suck up the old metal here, letting you pull the light bulb out of its socket. You really should have two hands to do this, but I do not have two hands, so I'm going to try to do this by myself. We'll see how it works. God, I hope I don't fuck this up. Okay. Yeah, I really have no fucking clue what the hell I'm doing. So, I don't know if you can see that. It might be too bright, but it is taking off some of the solder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that piece. I'm going to try to get the rest. I almost feel like this really isn't worth it unless you absolutely love doing this kind of stuff, or you really want to be able to fix a VCR, because either you have a VHS collection or yeah, don't touch that either because it's fucking hot as shit. Doing this is like the scariest shit because I love this VCR and I don't want to fuck it up. But you gotta learn somehow. And like I said, I already fixed one. And you want to make sure you don't mess up any of these components because you probably won't find them again without having to buy kind of like an old crappy machine and then trying to switch them out, which would be a whole nother pain in the ass. Starting to come out. Kind of like a loose tooth. So this is the light. I don't know if you can see it on there, but it's a little rusty under there, which is probably what made it have a bad connection. That's probably also glue too, but you could actually see where the two metal prongs that actually stick through here that get soldered on to the actual chip were rusty. So yeah, let's get a new light bulb, which I have here. I will show you. This is what it looks like. It's got these two prongs, and it's got this right here. You're going to take it, and it should just slide right through, and then you have the two prongs under here. Now we're going to get our solder, and we're going to try to solder these things in here. Now on a video I saw, they heat this shit up first, and then they put the solder on, and it's just one drop like that. I'm going to do this one. Heat it up first. One drop. Okay. So now I'm going to turn the machine on and just make sure that light works. The machine off, but check this shit out. The bulb is now on. There we go. Okay, so I got it hooked up to my Zenith. As you can see, when I turn the power on, the light turns on. We're going to put a tape in and see how it plays. Oh yes, success. By the way, nothing screams success like your high school ska band playing on 40-year-old equipment. So So yeah, that is how you fix a sensor lamp in a 40-year-old VCR. And there's me.